Nagendra Kumar, Assistant Professor, Common First Aid College, Kuvampanagar, Mysore. I will be presenting paper on significance of the Forest Rights Act in relocation and resettlement of tribes in Mysore district. To begin with, the Forest Rights Act gives maximum attention to the tribal forest knowledge. This act also says and pays credit to the traditional tribal wisdom regarding conservation of forests and surrounding ecology. The Forest Rights Act protects the tribal population from eviction without rehabilitation resettlement. Therefore, this act is vital and important. The Forest Rights Act is one of the milestone acts in the recognition of the tribal's forest rights. The Forest Rights Act recognizes the rights of the forest dwelling tribal communities and other traditional forest dwellers to the forest resources on which these communities were dependent for a variety of needs, including livelihood, habitation, and other socio-cultural needs. This particular rehabilitation resettlement, which has happened due to the formation of National Park in the year 1999, which is also called as Rajiv Gandhi National Park, and as it is in the part of Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. After the introduction of the Wildlife Protection Act in the year 1972, the local tribal community were forced to move out of the forest and settle in the rehabilitated areas. There are two important national parks where these tribal communities have been resettled. Among them, Nagarole is also one. The first relocation, which was happened in the year 2000, which has been funded by the India, which is said like that, India Eco Development Project funded by World Bank to the Karnataka Forest Department, where these local tribal people were begin with 50 people, 50 families. Their relocated families were given land position as well as their other tribal rights. They used to live inside the forest. Later on, they have been evacuated. They have been resettled. This forest management policies, including forest acts, rules, which consist of tribal self-cultivation and habitation rights, community rights, and traditional seasonal grazing, fishing across such other water bodies, and also they are being used in safeguarding our biodiversity also, and also recognition of the tribal traditional customary rights, because they are the basic source of income where forest miner produces like aloe vera, neem, forest cinnamon, forest mushrooms. They are supposed to collect and they are to sell in their local market. They have been given the rights. The management of these policies are supposed to give such privileges to these communities where they can comfortably lead their life with a dignity and with decorum. This act further proposes conjunction with the right to fair competition and transparency in land acquisition. These particular land where they are resettled, which comes inside the forest, especially that is also called as revenue land, which belongs to the forest department. So only the right of living inside the forest, and also they used to work for forest department for their sustainable growth. This Gram Sabha and the participatory involvement decision making process, where they have been given some other rights also, where this act enables the tribal population to have decisive say in the determination of local policies and schemes impacting them, because recently they have constructed an association called as Village Forest Management, where these particular tribal communities have been given some sort of responsibility while protecting the biodiversity. And the other objectives of this Forest Rights Act are to give, there are some undo in the historical injustice occurred to the forest dwelling communities from time to time to ensure food security of the forest dwelling scheduled tribes and other traditional forest dwellers, to strengthen the conservation regime of the forest by including the responsibilities, to strengthen the authority of the forest rights holders towards sustainable use of forest resources. And there is an amendment which has made in the year 2006 to this Forest Rights Act, where the villagers have a unit of managing these forest resources, and they have been given other rights to support the tribal people for their survival, and which includes the fight against forceful eviction from the forest in the name of the local tourism development, the fight against anonymous constructions of the jungle hotels and resorts, the fight against accommodating adventure tourism and night safari activities, to fight against constructions of the wildlife attractions. So these are all the provisions which has been given under this act. And other ministry, especially the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, the Tribal Cooperative Marketing Development Federation of India, and National Scheduled Tribes and Finance and Development Corporations, which provides other rights to these resettled tribes in Nagarole resettlement area. To conclude my talk, these rights definitely give certain amount of legal and aspects of providing sustainability to these tribal communities, especially Jenukurba, Kadakurba and Erwa community. But here and there are some issues related to the rights of the tribals because of the other acts which attracts, and there is a slight amount of conflict and struggle between these tribal communities, whether they are satisfied, whether they are up to the mark, whether they respect to the legal provisions. So these are the concerned areas where we need to look into it. Thank you one and all. Do agree with that. So I will take up this in my next presentation, that considering the fact that primary data should be included. But as a fact that secondary data is also vital and important according to me, that I have been with the tribal communities while doing my my field work. So I have noticed certain amount of this act which has made a lot of issues with them. So while discussing, while doing an interaction with them, so I came to know such acts are beneficial, as well as for a certain section of the people there is a rejection also. Thank you.